Hello, folks. Welcome to Truth or Tube. I hope everybody can hear me. I'm having lighting issues. Sun's in my eyes. But it is Monday, November 16th, 2020, reporting out of North Metro Atlanta, Georgia. All right, I've noticed that a lot of videos that I was going to show you are been deleted. One of the videos I was just going to show you that was just published has already been deleted instantly. Damn. I was just going to show you. It was a good one. So hopefully everybody can hear me. I'm going to try to reset my mic. When people get in here, please let me know you can hear me.
Now, why is this relevant to anything we're seeing right now with the massive election fraud carried out by another massive development? The election took
Thank you,
place
guys.
under national emergency that set an election day trap for the
This was a video that was just deleted, but apparently because I was still watching it, it's still here. So I'm going to let this play out. It's 22 minutes. Thank you, Justin and PLS News. You guys rock for letting me know. This is important because it was just deleted and I still have it open, so I'm going to play it.
unauthorized access of election and campaign infrastructure. According to Humans Are Free, we have another bombshell regarding this presidential election. The story beginning with the little-known executive order signed into existence on September 12, 2018 by President Donald John Trump. And that order, available at whitehouse.gov, is entitled Executive Order on Imposing Certain Sanctions in the Event of Foreign Interference in the United States Election. In that executive order, which almost no one has covered since the day it was signed, President Trump declared a national emergency. Kindly support my Patreon channel since YouTube has again demonetized my YouTube channel. My Patreon channel will have 5 different videos from my YouTube channel every day. Thank you so much for your support and that you find the contents of my YouTube channel so interesting. And you'll find the Patreon channel details in the description box below the videos. Thank you.
Hello, Alito.
Emergency
Hello,
is
Leo.
in play to this
Much
day,
love.
and the 2020 presidential election was conducted under this state of emergency, which is a crucial point to understand and what is coming next. Unauthorized access of election infrastructure. Now, we have a lot being said by the Trump team, the legal team with Rudy Giuliani and Sidney Powell and others, as to what will be coming in the next few days. They will reveal it. They have proof of what's going on. Now, in the executive order, the president also states that people and organizations located in part outside the United States are known to be able to interfere in or undermine public confidence in the United States elections, including through the unauthorized access of election and campaign infrastructure or the covert distribution of propaganda and disinformation. Now, if you're starting to see how this ties into mass media, CNN, New York Times, Washington Post, and you're not alone, all these organizations we will see soon have been caught under this emergency declaration of foreign interference in U.S. elections aided by complicit corporations on U.S. soil. Now, the executive order also states in furtherance that this foreign interference in the U.S. elections, quote, constitutes an unusual and extraordinary threat to the national security and foreign policy of the United States, obviously, as we can understand. Now, why is this relevant to anything we're seeing right now with the massive election fraud carried out by Democrats and deep state? That's because the Dominion Voting Systems is a Canadian company, and Skytle is run out of Spain. The Skytle is the voting count company that declared bankruptcy in June of this past year, and supposedly there some things of Sky belonging to Skytel have been retrieved from Frankfurt, Germany, but we'll see that later, as we'll see from what Senator Louis Gohmert said to us a couple of days ago. Now, the Dominion voting machines, that's right, Dominion is a foreign-owned company which makes Dominion-based election theft a foreign interference issue, as described in the executive order. Skytel, by the way, is connected to George Soros and the Democrats, according to what we'll see below, and Bill Gates also is known to own stock in Skytel. Now, Dominion is Canadian. Skytel is Spanish. Both represent foreign interference in U.S. elections. And everybody asks after this news came out, why is the Spanish company counting U.S. votes? Don't we have enough people in the United States to count the U.S. votes? Why is it a foreign company in Barcelona and Frankfurt and wherever else? Other people have said they're also counting them in Venezuela. Why are they counting U.S. votes in other areas? So Dominion, Canadian, Skytel is from Spain. Both represent foreign interference in U.S. elections with data routed through servers in Germany. Another voting machine company, Skytel, also widely used in U.S. elections, located in Spain. As the Great Game India reports, quote, days after it was revealed how 2020 U.S. elections were rigged by Canadian Crown agent Dominion voting systems through a so-called glitch, now Great Game India has found involvement of another dubious foreign company in U.S. election meddling. Let me just comment here that Dominion was not used in Texas and some other locations because of the fact that they concluded that they were not to be trusted because of their glitches and defects, that they would switch votes from one candidate to another. Now, going on with this, the votes cast by Americans were counted by a bankrupted Spanish company, Skytel, in Spain. And like Dominion voting systems, Skytel has a long history of election frauds in various nations, including injecting backdoors in its election server software. Now, we know that Dominion was used in about 30 states and all the swing states. Skytel was also used in a number, I think last time I read 28 states. I don't know if the Skytel and Dominion were used in the same states. That's another question I in my mind is not yet answered. But going on with this, the issue has prompted experts to question why the sensitive job of counting votes was outsourced to a foreign company. How could a bankrupt Spanish company count American votes in Spain? Due to such widespread fraud, the chairman of the U.S. Federal Election Commission, Trey Traynor, has announced that he believes that the 2020 U.S. presidential elections are illegitimate. And what people are missing in all this is that Trump's 2018 executive order gives the Department of Justice the power to seize all assets of individuals and companies that were complicit in aiding or covering up this foreign interference in U.S. elections. The National Emergency Order specifically calls for seizure of all assets of entities that have directly or indirectly engaged in, sponsored, concealed, or otherwise been complicit in foreign interference in our United States election. Okay, let me read that again. The National Emergency Order calls for seizure of all assets of these companies. Now, that would, of course, have to include practically every CNN fake news anchor, every big tech CEO, every fake news journalist, terrorist from NBC News, New York Times, Washington Post. Let me also comment that in January of this past year, 2020, the CEO of Dominion, John Poulos, gave testimony to Congress that, yes, there were problems and defects with Dominion. Dominion has Chinese components that are defective, and these components could not be manufactured anywhere else, not even the United States. That's what he testified in front of U.S. Congress. Now, going on with this, they are all complicit in gaslighting America and covering up the massive foreign election interference that just took place. Trump's executive order further explains that asset seizures shall target people and entities which have, quote, materially assisted, sponsored, or provided financial, material, or technological support for, or goods or services to, or in support of any activity described in subsection AI of the section, or any person whose property and interests in property are blocked pursuant to this order, or to be owned or controlled by, or to have acted or purported to act for, on behalf of, directly or indirectly, any person whose property or interests in property are blocked pursuant to this order. End quote. Now, in other words, the executive order covers every person who has been corrupted or compromised by Communist China. That includes at least 80% of Democrat lawmakers, by the estimates including Senator Feinstein and Schiff. Now, we know that Bill and Hillary Clinton, Dianne Feinstein, and Nancy Pelosi have ties to Dominion. Now, every organization involved in the election theft and cover-up can now be seized by the U.S. government. But that's not even the full extent of what's demanded by this executive order. In Section 8, the order explains that the term person also means a partner, a legal person, not a physical person, but a company, a partnership, association, trust, joint venture, corporation, group, subgroup, or other organization. In other words, any media organization that assisted in covering up or assisting foreign interference in the U.S. election is specifically targeted by this executive order. And further, the definition says, as the executive order explains, quote, the term election infrastructure means information and communications technology and systems used by or on behalf of the federal government or a state or local government in managing the election process, including voter registration databases, voting machines, voting tabulation equipment, and equipment for the secure transmission of election results, end quote. You can see all this is really, really a major significant revelation here. Now, that would include the Dominion voting system, as well as other voting systems used in the recent election, and of course, SCITL, the vote counting. Now, finally, the executive order describes what it means by the term foreign interference. It means, an emphasis added, quote, any covert, fraudulent, deceptive, or unlawful actions or attempted actions of a foreign government or of any persons acting as an agent or on behalf of a foreign government, undertaken with the purpose or effect of influencing, undermining confidence in, or altering the result or reported result of the election, or undermining public confidence in election processes or institutions, end quote. Note the important words, altering the result or reporting result of the election. This is exactly what big tech and biased news media have done to America. More than merely a crime, it's treason, and it fell right into the description and the parameters of the national emergency trap that President Trump publicly announced in 2018, which now means all these corporations and organizations can have their assets seized legally, literally overnight. Now, Trump's attorney, Sidney Powell, described staggering statistical evidence, and also, as we said before, former New York Mayor, oh my God, I have to drink more coffee, Rudy Giuliani, who's on the Trump team, they're saying that they have staggering witness testimony and so much evidence about this criminal election fraud that was carried out throughout America in these elections. Sidney Powell says, if you want to talk about foreign election interference, we certainly have it now. And she says she will release the Kraken. This is what she said on Lou Dobbs on Sunday. She vows to expose Silicon Valley and left-wing corporations that are using their power to help Democrats steal the election.
Well, joining us tonight is Sidney Powell, a member of President Trump's legal team, General Flynn's defense attorney, a great American and prominent appellate lawyer. Great to have you with us, Sidney. Let's start with Dominion. A straight out disavowal of any claim of fraud against the company, its software or machines. Your reaction?
Well, I can hardly wait to put forth all the evidence we have collected on Dominion, starting with the fact it was created to produce altered voting results in Venezuela for Hugo Chavez, and then shipped internationally to manipulate votes for purchase in other countries, including this one. It was funded by money from Venezuela and Cuba, and China has a role in it also. So if you want to talk about foreign election interference, we certainly have it now. We have staggering statistical evidence. We have staggering testimony from witnesses, including one who was personally in briefings when all of this was discussed and planned, beginning with Hugo Chavez and how it was designed there, and then saw it happening in this country. As soon as the state shut down on election night and stopped counting, those are the states where the most egregious problems occurred. We also need to look at, and we're beginning to collect evidence on the financial interests of some of the governors and secretaries of state who actually bought into the Dominion systems.
Okay, so you can understand they're going to be coming out with this in the next few days. So we have a lot that's going to be coming out. Now, a representative, I said he was Senator, he was a representative, Louis Gohmert, Republican from Texas, says that U.S. military raided the server farms on Skytel of the Spanish company in Germany. He says U.S. Army raided and seized servers company in Germany and Frankfurt tied to the Dominion election system. And lest you think this is spectacular and a rumor, that's not so. Now, we're getting now to the part where the rubber meets the road. According to the video interview with Representative Louis Gohmert, which aired earlier, a few days ago, the U.S. military conducted a raid on the server farm of the now debunked Skytel, the bankrupt Skytel company in Barcelona, Spain. Actually, the assets of that have been bought, and they have taken Skytel and made it into another company. This is what usually happens with a company that's going out of concern. Now, the Gateway Pundit, which has been at the forefront of much of this reporting of the election rigging that took place, reached out to its sources to confirm the military operations in Europe as related to gathering evidence of the election theft. And here is what Gateway Pundit reported. The U.S. government, once they determined that this Dominion server was involved in switching votes, then the intelligence community began a search for the server and discovered that the server was in Germany. And in order to get access to that server and have it available for use in a legal manner, they had to have the State Department work in tandem with the Department of Justice. They had to request that the government of Germany cooperate in allowing this seizure of this server. Now, the appropriate document required to effect that kind of seizure were in place. The documents were in place, signed off on, and it appears there was also U.S. military support in this operation, end quote. But the U.S. military was not in the lead, but this helps explain why Esper was fired and Miller and Kash Patel were put in place so that the military would not interfere with the operation anyway. And by getting a hold of the server, this Skytel server, they now are going to have the direct evidence of when they were instructed to stop counting. Oh my goodness. You just can't make this stuff up. This is amazing what took place. Amazing how fast and furious all this took place. Now, they will also discover who gave the direction to stop counting and who initiated the algorithm that started switching the votes. And the CIA was completely excluded from this operation. Okay, I guess the FBI had to do with this, and the U.S. military and the German respective forces. So this is amazing. They will have the information who gave the order to stop counting and who started the algorithm that switched the votes. And Louis Gohmert was on Brighton, and the YouTube video.
Election, he needed to just give up. But Seidel, that's a place where all of this information was cycling through. Not supposed to, but it was. And actually, there was a German that, as I was told, there was a tweet in German from Germany that the U.S. Army had gone in and seized the Seidel server. They're going through bankruptcy right now. So there's all kinds of games being played. And I had suggested that the president might get information from Seidel, and the next day before, and I sent him specifics that he needed to get that would show a lot of fraud. And the next day before that information could be gotten, somebody ordered the U.S. Army, according to the tweet, to go in and seize the server. There are people involved inside the government that have been trying to take this president down, State Department, Intel community, and FBI, and all.
So you can understand what will be coming out in the next few days. The raid appears to have targeted the CIA's Frankfurt server farm operation. We also have confirmation that WikiLeaks document that CIA used a data center in Frankfurt as a remote hacking base to rig U.S. elections. DW.com reported. WikiLeaks released a trove of CIA documents Tuesday that it claimed reveals details of its secret hacking arsenal. The release included 8,761 documents that it claimed revealed details of malware, viruses, Trojans, weaponized zero-day exploits, malware remote control systems, and associated documentation. The leaks purportedly reveal that a top secret CIA unit used the German city of Frankfurt am Main, Frankfurt, Germany, as the starting point for numerous hacking attacks on Europe, China, and the Middle East. Now, German daily Süddeutsche Zeitung reported that the building was known to be the home to a vast network of intelligence personnel, including CIA agents, NSA spies, military Secret Service personnel, Department of Homeland Security employees, and Secret Service employees. It reported the Americans had also established a dense network of outposts and shell companies in Frankfurt. It appears the CIA was using the same foreign data center to hack the U.S. elections and got caught. This is precisely why reports say that the CIA was kept completely out of this server raid operation that took place in Germany, that just took place. The raid was likely leveled against the CIA's own server farm that ran the remote Dominion hacking operations the night of the election. And Lynn Wood tweeted, Biden and his criminal cronies are not going to sleep well tonight. Well, Biden might, because he probably forgot the name Skytle. His co-conspirators know the name well. They also know the name Paragon, a company which purchased Skytle in October of 2020, just a few days ago. Everything will be revealed, they said. So this is, the source was distributed news.com, excerpt 5, and this is on Humans Are Free. Please leave your comments. Thank you. And we'll be having more details coming out as Rudy Giuliani and Trump's team and Sidney Powell reveal to us.
Wow, she's an excellent researcher. She did a great job because she was watching the same video that I was looking at. Watching yesterday, which was Monograph at the end. You guys need to be watching his channel because he privatizes stuff. You need to watch his lives. Watch his lives. Now, this is the real M. Lord and God. Her channel right here. I used to be a Patreon. Go to this channel. I can't afford to be a Patreon anymore, but I did capture that before we got it privatized. Hold on a minute. I got to clear my throat. All right. I find that really amazing that I just caught that video as it was published and then privatized, and I happen to still have it up to show you guys. So I feel very fortunate that I came on here at that moment and did that and found that video before it was privatized like that. All right, let me show you some more things that are going on because it's important, guys. Things are about to, whoa, go crazy.
This is Dabu7. A big time heads up for folks out there that were looking forward to the holiday season here of Thanksgiving and just spending time with friends and family. trying to get back to a bit of normalcy and to talk about all the chaos that's been happening. But no. They don't want you to do that. Before you can even get anywhere close to that, they're saying, nope, cancel Thanksgiving. There's a ban on it, basically. Let's look here. Gavin Newsom came out and gave his tyrannical orders. Now we have Inslee out of Washington State saying the same thing. They are canceling anything that has to do with big indoor operations, and they're saying that they're putting a ban on any indoor social gatherings for the next 4 weeks. So that sends your Thanksgiving celebrations out the window. Now, in Chicago, Lori Lightfoot, this is the woman that is on film bragging about the NWO and bowing down to it, the New World Order. This isn't a conspiracy if we thought it was. This woman's on film talking about it, bowing down to it. Yeah, your homework for the night if you care. Okay, then you can see what we're really up against. So this woman that's let her city descend into pure hell and chaos has said you might as well cancel your traditional Thanksgiving Day plans. In what many there are saying is a display of absolute arrogance and liberal politics that knows no bounds. And this is what the people are going to have to put up with. So either people rise to the occasion and they find a way to get this corruption out of their city, or you're going to have to deal with it forever. Or you move into a territory where there's like-minded individuals that you can rally with, that you can start to rise with, and then go against the beast system with. The time for complacency is over. Those that don't make moves from here will get left behind. Those that don't make moves from here will wonder, where did everybody go? And it's because you were sitting there doing nothing the whole time, waiting for someone else to save the day, that you're going to get caught in that position. You're not going to get the word because you weren't active, because you weren't trying right now. You're not going to get the tap on the shoulder of the word of where guys are going underground. So I suggest that folks start to get active out there and show the others around them that you're about holding down the freedom and fighting for it until the end. Because if not, we have nothing. We have no patriots. We have no one left to stand and fight against this tyrannical system. They're just going to take it every step of the way because no one is there to stop them. That's the saddest part. But I know that there's riders out there. I know it. You know it. It's about linking them together and having a big force of one. That's what it's all about. The power is in your numbers. The power is in the people, in the politics that they address, in the corrupt individuals that they hold accountable out here on this world stage. So join me over on DLive where I break this down further. And the gloves come off. We talk about it all over here. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern. Nothing censored. Just hammering away, dropping bombs over here, man. Truth bombs all day long. Links below. Much love.
Hi guys, he is so on point there. It's not even funny because that's it. This is all we got right now. I keep showing you, and they're about to pull the rug on all angles on us, all at once. Like, people are not happy. There's about to bunch of shit go. I hope you guys are stocked up on food. I keep telling people, hey, I'm broke as hell and I'm in a bad situation. This is the worst timing that this shit could go on for me in my life personally. So guys, do the best you can. And I'm going to show you a couple of videos that I want you to do your homework on. And we're going to talk about them later, or I'll play them too, because it's very important. These stories that I bring to you at the end of my video here is very important for all of us to pay attention to.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Project Veritas headquarters, the infamous Wall of Shame, where journalists' reputations go to die, where we frame retractions and corrections.
Sorry, they don't like me playing this one. Give it a minute, please.
In articles questioning our own ethics. That's why it's so troubling. That's why we're living in George Orwell's 1984. Our media is so broken. It's so disgraceful. It's so disgusting. And until we fix the media, well, we won't fix anything in our political situation. So this retraction goes to one William Legate. Am I pronouncing that name right? William Legate on Twitter. This guy likes to go around trying to get people banned from Twitter. William Legate on Twitter. Cue the retraction theme song.
He's coming at you.
So this is the 327th retraction. 327, William Legate, his bio says, quote, self-made American entrepreneur, Teal Fellow, featured in WAPO, New York Times, Fox News, CEO, Predict Network, Deep State Operative, and there's his Instagram account. So let's see what William Legate writes. Originally, quote, Project Veritas finds a USPS worker, pays $130,000 to allege voter fraud. That's what he said. We paid this guy $130,000. We did not pay him anything. So I said, you need to retract this, that we paid $130,000. And in fact, he started the GoFundMe page because he has a daughter and he was being put on unpaid leave by the Postal Service. If you don't retract, Project Veritas is going to sue you. So William Legate deletes his original tweet and writes, quote, clarification, Project Veritas claims that $130,000 was raised for him via GoFundMe. We didn't claim it. In fact, he did raise that much money on GoFundMe, and the GoFundMe page was taken down. So these guys get to just make stuff up. They just get to lie. And he's verified on Twitter. So William Legate goes around trying to get people banned from Twitter. So we actually filed a complaint with Twitter against William Legate for spreading this type of propaganda and disinformation. So now William Legate has corrected his post. He's made one more retraction and correction regarding this story than we have. We haven't had to correct anything because we stand by our reporting. And we're going to frame this retraction. We've already framed the retraction, 327, and we're going to put it on the infamous wall of shame. It's amazing how many retractions we get at Project Veritas. We don't stop getting retractions. Do you have a plushie? Where'd the plushie go? William, all this could be avoided if you just stuck to the facts, if you just did your job. Stop projecting onto me that which you are. You know, who said that? Was it Goebbels? Was it Lenin? Stop projecting on, projection is a psychological issue. It really is. You guys have psychological problems. You accuse I guess you think I'm your enemy. You accuse me of doing what you do. And it's twisted. It really is. Why don't you just focus on doing, journalism, reporting? Go to the location of the scene of the thing and report on it instead of attacking us. Now, you're going to live in infamy on the wall of shame forever.
Forever.
All of this could be avoided if you just stuck to the facts. Stay tuned because the retractions just keep coming.
All right, I want to point out some of the censorship that this platform is doing while I'm streaming this video, folks. So you bear with me. Did you see how they blurted out all the Twitter, all the words on the back here, all the posts, all this? You see that? How they blurted it all out? Because they're on, if you go to this video on, this website right here down on the right-hand corner, or on this on this platform, their channel, you'll see this very clearly. But while I'm streaming it, they don't want this information to go out. So look at it. They've kind of smudged it all out so you guys can't read anything. Okay, that's called censorship. That's Orwellian. That is communism. Okay, this is by these social media platforms that are getting busted as we speak.
The new Ergo Smart Base from Tempur-Pedic responds to snoring automatically, so no hiding under your pillow or opting for the couch. Your best sleep all night, every night. This Black Friday, save up to
I did want to give you guys the optics of what's going on in my state here in Atlanta, Georgia, and or in Georgia, but I live in the metro Atlanta area where all this is going on. So I want to show you what's been going on. Sorry about my interruption.
Now, an update on the statewide audit of the presidential race in Georgia. Counting every vote by hand, it can be tedious, but when you have an army of workers, the job doesn't take too long. So let's see how they're doing. In the last hour, DeKalb County says it finished its audit. 300 election workers counted more than 370,000 ballots late into the night. They started actually counting on Saturday. And then around 4 o'clock this afternoon, Fulton County says it finished the hand count of more than 500,000 ballots. That accounts for about 11% of the state's 5 million ballots. All counties have until midnight Wednesday to complete the retally of votes. So,
I'm Natisha Lance. Welcome to Georgia. Those words are etched across the image of a newly flipped Georgia. Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms tweeted this picture Friday while promoting the January Senate runoff. And we spoke to Johnny Hart, the man behind the image. He says the reaction to the doodle has been a fluke, in his opinion. He drew it days after the election as Joe Biden started closing the gap on Donald Trump's lead in Georgia.
I knew it was going to happen. And I just had this huge moment of like, I got chills all over my body. I was so happy for everyone that had worked so hard. And I just sat down and I doodled that image.
Well, Hart has about 20 items with the Georgia design in an Etsy store he set up. Hart, who is also a guitar maker, has been out of work during the pandemic. He says the success of the Georgia image will bring him up to date with mortgage payments. But Hart says his greatest hope is for people to come back to reality, to start talking to each other again.
Oh, boy, isn't it contradicting?
Welcome to Georgia. Those words are etched across the image of a newly flipped Georgia. Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms tweeted this picture Friday while promoting the January Senate runoff. We spoke to Johnny Hart, the man behind the image.
That really makes me just, oh, wow. They haven't even called it. We're already selling stuff and promoting and putting it all out there. It's really unfortunate. Yes, it looked like all Democrats were still there doing the audit. That's what it was blowing my mind. That's why I blew it up to show you guys that a minute ago. Isn't that something? I think it's so wild, like I said. And a lot of this footage that this news agency uses, they keep using the same footage from weeks ago. So you're not even seeing the true nature of anything, guys. I wanted to point that out. That's why I played a couple of videos, and the dates were different, but they were overlapping the same video footage that they took in my area of them counting in my county, and they kept looping it for the last week or two in different videos. Interesting. No new footage. I'm just saying. Yeah, it's really wild. Okay. Now let me find what I was going to show you next. FYI, I heard that there might be a, through the, listening to people here on this platform, there might be a truckers strike by the 29th. And they might be on strike for 4 or 5 days, which means there will be backup on things coming to the stores, folks. So when I tell you guys to prepare, I mean, really, like right now, if you got the money, get out there and get what you can. There's multiple things. I've heard that people are really pissed. There's a lot of shit could go down right now. Okay. These are some great videos. They're a little bit long, but look at this. This came out today. Canada. Look at this crap.
Building back better means giving support to the most vulnerable while maintaining our momentum on reaching the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and the SDGs.
Oh, apparently the YouTubers don't like this one. They're hitting me right now.
Canada is here to listen and to help. This pandemic has provided an opportunity for a reset. This is our chance to accelerate our pre-pandemic efforts to reimagine economic systems that actually address global challenges like extreme poverty, inequality, and climate change.
Did you hear that? Did anybody, can you even take that man seriously? I mean, look at him. Yeah. I wonder why they're hated. I wonder why they're not where they're supposed to be. They are hiding, folks, along with the governors and all. They're all corrupt. Their time is here for judgment because they sold our souls. Now, this was the story of Angel Catcher. It's very important that you guys understand the story. It's a fairly long story, but it's very much worth it. And I've told you guys my same story that this man's about to tell you. And this is the Monograph channel. I suggest you guys go over there, subscribe, and watch every live one he puts out there because he'll erase them after. Some of them that are not, just you need to go over there and check out and sift through it all, guys. This is a great video, and this is what I've been telling you guys, and that's why I'm here and I keep on doing this.
Oh boy, isn't this fun? Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. What is going on here? I'll be right back. Hang on a second. How's everybody doing today? I certainly hope you're doing well. It's kind of late out, isn't it? Sure is. Let's see what's going on here. What's up? What's up? Hope you didn't get an EMF. EMP? No. Yeah, I decided to do my story time. I just finished the graphic for it. So that took a couple of hours. And I decided to do the story time live. Why not? So it might be a long winder. Never know, right? So let me read what you guys have to say so I can kind of get relaxed. I don't know where the hell I put my damn cigar. It's kind of pissing me off because I just had it with me. I'm like, am I getting half timers? You know what half timers is, right? When you forget all the time, it's Alzheimer's. When you forget half the time, it's Alzheimer's. The hell is going on? Where the hell did I put the damn thing? Pissing me off. Yeah, here. See if it's over at you.
New Silverados at final clearance prices while they last at Maxi Price Chevrolet. Save thousands. Get 0% financing at 5.
Right. Damn it, that makes me mad. Here I can remember dates, and all this other stuff, and I can't even remember where I put my damn cigar. The hell is going on? Shoot, that makes me mad. See that? Can you read it? It says contact, right? What is that? Like the jacket? Yeah, this is a good jacket, man. It's very warm. It's a big jacket. Watching from down under Australia. All right, good times. Good times. Like I said, I just finished the graphic for the angel catchers. So I have the story all figured out. I just need to tell the story so you can get it. Because we know how much you love those stories. They're all original, right? Let's read what you got to say, Monty's. See what you're saying here. What is it? How's everybody doing? Certainly hope you're doing well. Yeah, exactly. I'm going to just kind of relax a little bit before I stir up my story. You were double streaming on a hangout, Lori's? So you can what? Okay. It's all right, man. It's totally all right. It's okay with me. See, I don't mind that people grab my material and put it wherever they want. The only time I mind it is when they take me out of context and accuse me of nonsense. You know what I mean? But if they're just sharing my stories on their blog or their tubes or whatever, I don't care. I don't care. As long as you put a link back to the original, which is going to be my channel, you can do what you want. And I'm not going to hit you with a copyright. I won't. I promise. All you got in life is your word, buddy. You got that? It's the jerk-offs that retitle the video into something else and then accuse me of some nonsense and take my words out of context. Then you get a hit with the DMCA, and I double dog dare you challenge it. Because I'm telling you, this year, my name is going to be sued. The next lawsuit I file is going to be against Google. Watch and see. And I'm going to parade around on their own platform. You want to bet? I'm not bluffing. That'll be filed in county court for 25 grand. Sure will be. I'm not playing anymore. It's going to cost me a lot of money, but it's going to cost them a lot of money too. See how that works? See what you're saying here. Doing great. Swan Island. Ever heard of it? No notification. Man, it's happening a lot. I don't, whatever. It's not about hitting the bell. I don't give a shit what you do. I mean, I'm just being honest. I don't even care. Just hit the bell, like, subscribe. I don't even care. Who cares? So what? I don't know what's going to happen May 1st. I'm not saying that anything is. I'm just giving out just in case. That's all. Might be totally wrong, but hey, you know what? You never know. Yesterday's live hit people would be epic. All right, here's another thing I wanted to tell you too. The other video, you gotta click on live chat to be able to see all the links, I believe. Maybe type chat, you can too. But anyway, if you hit live chat, you can see all the links from CC Brown. You can follow along, okay? And there were 2 intentional mistakes in there. In other words, I intentionally said that an article was from the 18th when it was damn well from the 19th. In other words, that's to prove to people that if I say the 18th and it's really the 19th, which it was, that the people will say, no, Monty, it's the 19th. It's the 19th. You see what I mean? It's to prove to everyone that the information that is being vetted is actually being vetted by the people that were in the live show. So don't forget it. These people aren't saying yes, yes, yes because they're on my live chat. They're afraid I'm going to boot them out. No, they're saying yes, yes, yes because they're vetting the information for themselves on their own equipment, on their own time. That's it. Just so you know. No, not M-Law. Forget it. Nonsense. All wash. Spec and Cumans. Now, somebody has reposted the video and they provided all the links in their description. So they went through it all and that was really nice of them. And like I said, I don't care what they do. It's all right. It's okay. Your thoughts on GeoLab, the Jason show? You know what? I ain't got no problems with Jason. Not anymore. You followed the, let's see. So anyway, let's go ahead and start with the story time because I really want to tell the story. The name of the story is called Angel Catchers. And here's the thing. It's kind of a true story, even though it's not a true story. So basically, there's parts in the story that are absolutely true, but there's other parts of the story that I created to fit the story. But there is information that is factual. So it's basically up to you to decide what is what, which is which. Right? That's the way I like to write my stories anyway. I don't write them, I just memorize them. All right? So let's go ahead and begin with the story time original story called Angel Catchers. There was an individual by the name of Nelson. Nelson was in his late 30s and he was studying at the University of Utah. Now you see, all of these universities, they have EDU websites and they can go under what is called the intranet, not internet. There's a difference. An intranet is a closed internet within only EDU or DOD or federal government, that sort of thing. So the intranet allows information to change hands in a closed system. That is factual, okay? Now, Nelson is trying to figure out a way where he can take radioactive material and he can make it docile. In other words, where it's not harmful to anyone. And he's studying Fukushima, and he's studying Chernobyl, and he's studying 3 Mile Island, all of these different areas that had some sort of radiation leak through some sort of nuclear power plant. And he has figured out a way to make all radiation that would be considered extremely dangerous to be extremely docile. No threat at all to anyone. But how did he do it? He did it with frequency. Because everything on this earth that is created from this earth. It doesn't matter if man has manipulated wood to make a chest or to make furniture or to make other sorts of tools. It doesn't matter that man has manipulated oil to make plastic. It doesn't matter that man has manipulated the atom or the molecular structure of any given organism to create something new. It doesn't matter, because every single thing that has been created, manipulated, or recreated came from this earth, which means a counter manipulation system put in place can make something extremely dangerous to something extremely docile. And he figured it out. He figured it out that you could take radiation that is so dangerous. In other words, if you were to be in an area with this radiation that is so dangerous, 2 minutes of exposure, you ain't gonna make it, dude. You'll be lucky to live for 2 months. He figured out a way to manipulate the frequency using the Earth's own magnetic polarity itself through frequency to ingest that frequency into a certain area, a certain space, to make all the radioactivity totally harmless. When he put his writings up on the intranet through the EDUs all over the country, he was laughed at. He was scoffed at. People thought it was funny. They were saying it's impossible. Even though he had certain papers that he'd written through experiments that he'd conducted. Once again, he was laughed at. He was scoffed at. Because it's just like cancer. If you tell your colleagues, if you tell your friends, if you tell other scientists and doctors that you have a cure, they will laugh at you. And even if you did have a cure, they do not want to cure the cancer. They want to treat it, because that's where the money is. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. So as Nelson goes about in life, he turns 39. Then he turns 40. Nobody's listening to him. Then he turns 41. Then he turns 42. Right? And now he's teaching at the University of Utah. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. But on the side, he figured out a way to recycle the angel. Nobody is listening to him in his field when he's talking about making extremely dangerous radiation to where it is extremely safe. Nobody is listening. But you see, Nelson has figured out a way to catch an angel. And how did he do it? A very secret, extremely secret experiment took place in Chicago on the 11th floor. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. But when? Well, it would be April 30th in Chicago on the 11th floor of one of the tallest buildings in Chicago. I'm sure you can figure out which one. But how was it done? Well, he covered the walls in titanium foil. He covered the ceiling in titanium foil, and he covered the floor in titanium foil. He also put a netting membrane all the way around on the walls, the ceilings, and the floor. And then above and beyond that, there was another meshing type of material. And then over that was satin cloth. So that way, the transfer from one human to the other could be complete and the angel would not escape. Now, even though in the tower. This experiment was being conducted. ABC News came in because ABC News has the best camera equipment known to man, and they do. Better equipment than CNN, better equipment than Fox News, better equipment than NBC, better equipment than CBS or Al Jazeera or RT or anybody else in the world. Because ABC News has been working in tandem with the CIA for a bajillion of years. Nobody knows it. ABC News has been involved in capturing footage from Area 51. That is a fact. Because Area 51 has done so many different medical experiments and has also had some sort of direct interaction with, let's say, incidences of out of this world, let's say. ABC News has captured on film with the time codes, the day, the date, the second, the millisecond in real time. Perfect color, perfect quality, with total secrecy. So how did it work? On the 11th floor in Chicago, of one of the tallest buildings in Chicago, this room was laced in titanium with membranes in between. A patient was brought in that is, let's say, on its way out, if you get my meaning, is totally on the exit lane and is soon to expire within the hour, naturally, of course. Another patient was brought in right next to them. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. This isn't a hospital. This is a business building. All of the lights were turned off, and they used infrared light to be able to see the transfer from one human to the other. You see, ladies and gentlemen, before we get to the experiment, this is how it works. Every human that is born on this earth, it doesn't matter if you're agnostic, it doesn't matter if you're a Muslim, it doesn't matter if you're a Christian, it doesn't matter if you believe in Allah or Buddha, or pick one of them, either a deity or a god or whatever, it doesn't matter. Everyone is assigned an angel. Every single creature on this earth is assigned an angel. Doesn't matter if you're a bear or you're a deer or you're a grasshopper, if you're a human, it doesn't matter. Every single living creature is assigned an angel. Now, when it comes to the humans, as soon as the baby is born, it takes its first breath, it is assigned an angel. That angel looks out for you for your entire life. But here's the problem. Sometimes people expire unexpectedly, whether it be a car accident or they drown or their heart stops or some sort of traumatic experience happens. They die suddenly. And they are revived by a defibrillator, or they are revived by some sort of resuscitation mechanism, whether it be mechanical or by another human, through mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, pumping of the heart, right? Here's a problem. Once you have died, your angel escapes the body, which means you don't have an angel anymore. Nelson figured out a way to transfer an angel from one body to the other body in a very closed situation. He figured it out. And the only way to encapsulate an angel is through the use of titanium foil lined throughout the walls and the ceilings and the floors. And the only way to actually see it with the naked eye is through infrared light. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. That's how it's done. And in this experiment, one person here was on the exit lane. They're getting ready to expire. This person here had already died and was already resuscitated. But they're in a bed as well, waiting for the transfer of the angel from one host to the other. It is precisely 11:09 p.m. in what is known as the Sears Towers on the 11th floor. This person expires, and through infrared light, you can see the angel leaving this body and going into the other body. But how do you know that the transfer is complete? Because the new host, their chest raises up and they to accept the new angel. Oh yeah. This experiment was not only witnessed by ABC News, it was also witnessed by members of medical communities throughout the world of many countries. It was also witnessed by the other EDUs, professors around the country, and they all had to sign a non-disclosure agreement. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. So as this body expired, the other body that had a resuscitation, the angel left the body, as now this angel here has returned to this body. Yep. The process is known as angel catching. Yes. Angel catching. Well, as time went by, another year had passed. So now we're in 2020. The experiments are not experiments anymore. Nelson decided to start a business called Angel Catchers 11:9. You see, there's this thing called mirroring. You have 9, 11, 11, 9. History repeats. It always does. That's right. This is why when Nelson started his company, Angel Catchers 11:9 or 119, it was so successful, even though it was very expensive. And one of the patients that he did the angel transfer from, someone who had expired into the new host, which was a woman by the name of Ashley. It's very bizarre. Very bizarre. Because you see, Ashley had drowned for real. Absolutely. Off the coast of Massachusetts. She had died. When they brought her back through resuscitation, she didn't have an angel again. She needed to be given yet another angel, because what people are not understanding is there are some people that can communicate with their angel. But a lot of people don't believe that. A lot of people cast that out. A lot of people believe that it has some sort of negative type effect on themselves, psychologically, mentally, emotionally, but it doesn't. You never be afraid. It's not that you're talking to yourself. It's that your angel is protecting you from danger, from expiring. Don't be afraid. If your angel tells you, listen, because your angel's existence depends on your existence. This is why Ashley, later in life, in the year 2022, she went back into some sort of regression, hypnotic regression. She was hypnotized, and she could remember very distinctive parts of history in the 1600s. Why is that? Because the angels are being recycled. This is why. It goes from one host to the other, to the other, to the other, to the other. It's almost the equivalent of bit trace information from one computer, from one file, from one piece of information to the other that is being proliferated throughout the internet. Little bits and pieces of information. It's the same thing with the angel catchers. The angel catchers do exist. And there's people with so much money, you don't even know what money is. You think a millionaire is money. That's a joke. These people are worth trillions of dollars, even though their tax returns may say billions. It's ridiculous. They are willing to pay a high premium to the ghost catchers to be able to transfer one angel into a new host. Absolutely. But as time went on, something very freaky happened. In 2023, yes, sir, yes, ma'am. It was November 14th, 2023. Nelson was driving down the road and he was sideswiped by a big truck. He sure was. When the paramedics arrived, he was gone. He had expired. And here they are, they're trying to resuscitate him the best that they could. To no avail. Nelson expired. And he took all of the knowledge with him. The knowledge of transferring some sort of frequency, to manipulate frequency, to make very dangerous radiation docile. He took the knowledge with him to how to exactly transfer one angel to the other. Did anyone come to Nelson's rescue? No. Because he wasn't able to be resuscitated. So once he perished, his angel left him. That's right. The highest density of angels can be found in every single hospital in the United States. Every single hospital. There are billions of angels. Billions. Because each angel, a new angel, is being assigned to that baby. As soon as that baby is born and the baby takes the first breath, the angel is assigned. The angel stays with that body until the end. Some angels are stronger than others. Absolutely. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. So do know to yourself that when your angel talks to you, when your angel is telling you, when your angel is trying to show you, don't close your eyes. Don't push your angel away. Listen to your angel, because in most cases, your angel is trying to save your life. That's the end of the story, ladies and gentlemen. Did you enjoy? Your angel told you to stay away from crazy. Really? Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, that was it. That was it for your story time.
At Ross, you don't have to spend a lot to give a lot. I love it. Ross, yes for less.
Calling all dental practices.
Ooh. Yeah. I wonder if I have any more snacks. Nope. Hello, hello. What's happening? Oh man, was that funny? I think we broke the internet. I'm not sure. I had to make a graphic, so we'll wait for some people to come in here so we can do our story time. How's it going? Yeah, we're back. What do you mean, ouch, story time? I told you I was going to come back and do a story time. I had to make my graphic. See how that works? Hope you're having a great night. I am. You got to admit that was funny, wasn't it? I had a lot of fun with that. I really do. But I had to put it on private because, you know, some people just can't handle it. A lot of people ain't got a good sense of humor. You know what I'm saying? Poor Mass One. I thought he was going to cry. That was too funny. Then Agent 19, I went over in his show just a little while ago. He's like, "Ma, is there something you want to tell us?" I'm like, "No, that was for Gustav, buddy. That was for the roll up your sleever." That was hysterical. Yeah, I had to smoke after. You liked it? Yeah, that was funny. Now the story time will stay up for sure. Absolutely. That was so funny. It was. I know. Isn't that horrible? That's why some of those private shows, man, they're just funny as hell, aren't they? Some get a little bit wild. You made it to class? Okay. Yeah. You thought it was an actual person for a second? No. You just put your hands in your shoes, you know what I mean? How's it going there, 9 Fathoms? What's happening to you? If that dude would have seen it, he'd probably have a heart attack. He'd be like, "Oh no, I can't handle that." You thought it was real. Oh, no. No, 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 no. You just put your hands in your shoes. So like I said, I'm going to wait 10 minutes to get everybody to give a chance to get in here because people get really mad if I start without them, especially when I'm doing the story times. Yeah, exactly. Chances are some troll tard toss it back up, because they get so excited over that stuff, It's not every day you see my hair mess, right? You thought the story time was real? No, the story time is not going to be real. It's just a made up story, right? So I had to make my graphic. It takes forever to do these graphics sometimes to get them just right. Warm them out. Truth, that's hysterical. Yeah. Yeah, the story time will stay. It'll stay. I'm just goofing off with you guys. They are good graphics. Thank you. I take great pride in my graphics. All of my thumbnails, most of them, like 99% of them, are custom made. When was it? When was what? When was what? What do you mean, when was what? Mm-hmm. When was the story? No, the story is going to be now. I'm going to tell the story. This is story time. Is it real? No, it's not real. It's all make believe. It's all make believe. You missed it earlier? I tell you what, Kay Adams, you missed out, buddy. You sure did. Boy, did we have a good time. Yeah, okay, no problem. That's no problem, buddy. Oh, yeah. There you go, Mass One. I seen your little video you put up on the tweeters. Boy, you were laughing so dang hard. You're watching on your wife's PC. Did you get a kick out of it? Oh, yeah. The best. Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, this story here is a brand new story. I hadn't told this one yet. I'm just waiting for people to get in here so I can start. Story time for your birthday. Is that right? Today's your birthday? Well, happy birthday to you. Yeah. And you are what, 29? You're 29 this year? 30? Something like that? You don't have to tell. You don't have to tell. That story time. What story time scares you? I don't even know what you're talking about. Forever. Well, thank you very much there, Hawk. I appreciate it. I'll put that towards a whiskey fund. I think I need some more whiskey. What is that? Your New World Order soldier videos? Yeah, those turned out well. I haven't done New World Order soldier in a long time, buddy. I think 2018, 17, something like that. It's been a long time. That's not I'm not going to say it. There are shortages now, but it'd be in your best interest in the next week, 2 weeks to Get busy on that. Don't wait. You'll be glad that you did. Especially before that trucker strike is a bad idea. But before they do that, that'll happen on the 29th. They said for 4 days. So you got to remember, every day they're down, it'll take, if they're down 1 day, it'll take 2 days to get back to normal. It's a mess. Boxes, that was a very terrifying. It was a very scary story time, yeah. And that one took 3 hours to tell. Very, very intricate, right? The last story time. Treehouse during Thanksgiving and Christmas. See, you should what? Purchase a custom wrestling mask to do your New World Order soldier without having to shave. Nah. No, because some of those New World Order soldiers were coded. So depending on the way the makeup is, there's code in the, I know it sounds silly, but there is. There's code in the makeup. So it just depends on what I'm doing that day. See, there, Jevi, the Google moderator team took your comment down. I don't even know why. You'd like to see the return of New World Order soldier? Well, my hair is too long. I don't want to shave off my beard. I can't do it with a beard on. It wouldn't be the same. You know what I mean? Maybe I'll wait 15 minutes actually. See, Google can't mod you. Yeah, I think Agent 19 just proved that in his show, that even the moderators are being silenced. Strange. Any opinion on the replacement of the? No, I have no idea what's going on there. Let's see, bet New World Order soldier would have a lot to say about the roll up your sleever. Yeah, but the bad thing is about that, you got to talk in code, and it's horrible. It's not the same. You turn 30. Is that right? Well, at least you, ladies and gentlemen, have a good sense of humor. That's the key. Even though we're going through really bad times right now, you still got to have time for laughter, man. Somehow, there's got to be laughter somewhere along the way. What is that? Joe America watched too much mainstream media and rolled up their sleever. Yeah, I know. That's right. You laughed so hard on that one, did you? Yeah, I heard you laughing. Oh my goodness. I thought you were going to lose it there, buddy. Is that right? No, you didn't miss the story time. I hadn't told it yet. I'm giving people a chance to get in here. We'll wait 15 minutes. Then we'll start. I know it's late, so that's okay. We'll leave this one up. It's not a big deal. Yeah, if you don't, you got to laugh every now and then. You're in Vancouver? Yeah, I heard that. Yeah, I'll probably knock out some llama crabs here pretty quick. All right, we got about another 2.5 minutes, then we're going to go ahead and start. Yeah, Scorpios. Got 2 Scorpios in my family. Monograph, go get your friend and give us a show like you did. It's just my hands and my shoes. That's it. I enjoy your stories, man. The New World Order Soldier is what originally drew me to your channel. Oh, well, thanks a lot. I appreciate that. I'll put that towards a whiskey fund. Yeah. So we got 2 minutes and then we'll start. What a ride. Been through much. I'm Your Ghost. Yeah, I'm Your Ghost is a good channel too. Almost lost you. Oh, yeah, I know. Exactly. That was true. Yep, that was a close call on that one. Time for a beer. Went from laugh to giggles to sounding down. No, I'm not sounding down. I'm getting prepared. I'm trying to remember all my stuff for my story time. Did you hear that they are going to lock down the states very soon? Yeah, I heard that. They already locked down, I think, let's see, what was it? Oregon and Washington, maybe today? Yeah, something like that. I think next Saturday, maybe Colorado. So we got about a minute left. Let's go ahead and get ready. Stay sober. That's right. I don't know. Do we need to stay sober? Tomorrow night, we're going to have a big old chatty do. So we'll probably start at about 8 or 9 o'clock Mountain Time, and we're just going to play. We're going to laugh. I'm not going to bring my friend. I can't believe I did that on the tubes. That's all right. That's okay. Knock it off, Tony. Knock it off. I don't know what you're doing all the time. No, not Lamocrat. All right, that's it. People, there's been enough time for people to show up. So let's go ahead and start. This is an original story. It is not true. No part of it is true. The locations are factual, but the story itself is not true. It's all made up. It's all BS. The characters are made up. What happens is made up. Everything is made up. It's just for entertainment. That's it. So let's go ahead and start. There was a fellow by the name of Adrian. Adrian is 30 years of age. He sure is. And he studies insects. That's all he does. You know, when he was younger, back when he was in college, he'd have this whole board there of all the butterflies and the pens and papers. And he had every last bug you can think of. He had all the little roaches there, little pins in the styrofoam board and all the butterflies. And he'd have like insects dealing with mosquitoes and all different types of mosquitoes and wasps and bees. And man, you name it, he had it. And he wanted to study bugs for his career. That's what he wanted to do. But as things went by, he figured, well, it's not going to be a very good living unless he's working for a university somewhere. So he had to get a regular job. So to feed himself, he was working with his father, and he was doing some accounting here and there. He wasn't an accountant at all. He was just kind of helping his dad with his business because his dad had a business where he went in and he did these like vacs, and you know, you go to these monster vacs and they clean out all the ventilation, all that stuff. But he kind of helped in the back end, all the office and whatnot, the finances and setting up jobs and that sort of thing. And then on the side, he would study these bugs. It's kind of weird. And one of the jobs that he went to, where his dad is doing this big old job, his dad needed some help because somebody called in sick and about. So he's got these big old vacuum cleaners, big old huge nozzles, and he's putting down the fence. He's sucking all the dust out of there and is going back to the van. And well, the homeowner, she came home. Her name was Kathy. And she's a good looking gal too, man. She's fine to dine. Oof, real good looking. But you know, you're not supposed to mix your business with your pleasure. Never do. That's not nice. That's not a good business policy. But he starts flirting with this thing. He can't help it. She's kind of cute. And they just started talking about things. And he's like, listen, hey, I hate to, interrupt you and what you're doing. And, I just want to tell you how pretty you are. And you're not supposed to be doing that. It's not a good idea, especially these days. She welcomed it. Of course, ladies like the attention. Yes, they do. And Kathy, she was about 32. She sure was. And her job, she was a salesperson. That's right. That's what she did. She went all around the United States, and she sold these little books, right? For some sort of, it was like, it wasn't quite a church, but it was in that area. It was like a fellowship type place, where they kind of help you get along if you're having emotional problems, or if you're maybe a family member is strung out on drugs and then they're trying to climb back out of it or whatever. It's like a fellowship. And so she's doing all right. She's making a living. Anyway, they exchanged numbers, and he said, I'd really like to talk to you. I know we shouldn't be doing this, but it's not like I work for a big old corporation. This is my dad's business, and I'd really like to talk to you later if you'd like to. Well, she said, oh, hell yeah, She was welcome to that because, again, he kind of gave her some compliments and that about her hair or how she looked in that. He already knows where she lives, right? So that kind of works out. So when he went back to the shop, he took he's cleaning all the gear, the vacuums and all that, and they're getting all the dust bags, and they got this big old contraption. I mean, it's a mess, right? Dusty all the time. You got to wear this respirator so that way you don't get all the dust in your life. It's just nasty, right? So he goes back and he cleans up, and he asks his father if everything's okay, if he can leave for the day and go back to his house, because he's not living with his dad now. Oh no. So he goes back to his house, and he puts a call into Kathy, and she answers the phone right away. He says, yeah, this is Adrian. I came over to your house and we were cleaning up your vents and whatnot. And they got to talking, and she wanted to know, what his hobbies were. He says, well, I have a hobby, but it's really not a hobby. I want to turn it into more of a business. And I'm trying to learn so much about bugs. She kind of laughed at him and says, bugs? Oh, I don't want anything to do with bugs. She's like, you mean like spiders and that? He goes, well, yeah, sometimes spiders. She's like, oh, that's so disgusting. He goes, no, it's really not disgusting, because spiders are needed. They're needed for, the ecosystem. They're needed because they are responsible for taking out all the other bugs, like the mosquitoes. They take out mosquitoes and they eat all these other bugs like moths, and you pick it, they do it. And then he tried to explain to her, because he's really into bugs for whatever reason. And she's trying to act like she's interested, but she's not interested at all, because, I mean, come on, what lady is going to be interested in a bunch of spiders and bugs and beetles, and forget it. So he goes on to ask her, so what are your hobbies? She goes, well, I like to hike a lot. And he goes, hiking? And she goes, yeah, I like hiking. I like just going out and about in nature and just hike up in the mountains and such. And you see, these people are located in Fort Collins, Colorado. So they're in the northern part of Colorado. You have Denver is like right here. And then you got Loveland like over here. And then you got Fort Collins way up here. That's about, I don't know, about an hour and 15-minute drive to Fort Collins from Denver. And that's where these two are located. And she's like, seeing that you're into bugs and I'm into hiking, it kind of is the same. She's kind of trying to make it work because she doesn't have a man. And he's trying to make it work because he ain't got a woman. So it kind of works out there. So they set up a little date to go on. They're going to go out to a restaurant and such. And see, the thing is, Kathy, she's got a little bit of a stuttering problem. And but she tries not to stutter so much because she didn't want to scare him away. But she does have a stuttering problem when she gets a little bit nervous around people because she's really shy. And you know how it is, fellas. Some of these ladies, they're extraordinarily shy. And once they get to know you and you pull them out of their shyness, they're not that bad off, but she is sort of shy. So they first set up a little date. They're going to go out for supper. And they're not going on any fancy date, let me tell you. They just go over to Applebee's or something like, and, you know, to be a gentleman, he's going to pay for everything because that's just the way he was raised. And she meets in there, and they meet on time. Everybody's on time. They get to talking to each other and looking in each other's eyes. And it's not really love at first sight. It's more of a friendship. So she's really cautious in what she's saying because she has a stuttering problem. She doesn't want to scare him off. She's kind of interested in him. And she knows that he's interested in her. So it's kind of working out. So after they get done with their dinner and such, they just go their separate ways. And he asks her if he can call her another time. She's like, well, of course. Had a good time. I'd like to maybe see you again. We'll go somewhere else. So this type of exchange is very slow. It's not like, you know, day after day after day. It's, you know, a couple of weeks later, he might call her back and say, so how are you doing? You know, how's life? And are you going to be out of town? She's like, yeah, I got to be out of town. I'll be out for about a week. So I can't really talk to you right now. So I'm kind of like getting ready to go and packing my suitcase, getting everything ready. She got a little, just a slight stuttering problem. She didn't want to scare him off. So he doesn't think anything of it. He just figures, you know, she was maybe a little nervous in that. So she packs up and she's got to head out to St. Louis, where she's going to sell these books, these fellowship type books or something, these little churches, get-togethers, whatever it is. And meanwhile, he's still working for his dad, doing a little accounting. And then if somebody calls in sick like that one time, he goes out and does all that stuff with the vents and pulls all the dust out of the ventilation systems. So about a week later, she does come back into town and he calls her up. She comes back in on like a weird day. It's like a Thursday afternoon. And she sends him a text message and says, hey, Adrian, I'm going to be back. And, you know, maybe we go out Friday and such. She just sent him a little text message. You ain't going to stutter on text message, are you? I didn't think so. So when she came back, they decided that they were going to go to a movie. Well, first of all, fellas, ladies and gentlemen, how are you going to get to know somebody when you're sitting somewhere in the dark for 2 hours? That's not a very good place to get to know somebody. Just not. But they decided that's what they're going to do. And she likes that idea anyway because she ain't going to talk. And if she does have to talk, it'll just be a little bit here, maybe a giggle there. It's nothing. So they go out to the movie and he's not making a move on her at all. You know, it's just a friendship now. So the movie goes well. He pays for all that because he wants to be a gentleman. And plus, he can afford it. He's not doing too bad. He's not a millionaire, but, you know, he can easily afford her way. And so the movie, everything works out there. And, you know, as they're walking out to their cars, he says, you know, Kathy, yeah, I think you're a really nice person. And what do you say you just come back to my house and we'll visit? She's thinking, wow, we went from, let's see, Applebee's suddenly to the movie house to suddenly you want to take me in the sack. Her head. So, of course, she says yes. Ladies, you know you would too. Anyway, so they go back to his house and he's really excited to get her in there too. Not to lay her down, not to turn her feet into kites, but to show her all of his bugs. Imagine that. So they get up to the door. He opens the door and he goes into this room. He goes, listen, I want to show you. I know you don't like bugs, but I want to show you. I'm just so interested in all these bugs. She's a little bit apprehensive. He goes in, man, he's got tables and tables and tables and tables. This whole one room is nothing but circled by tables. And sometimes in like one of the walls is like 2 tables deep where you got to walk around. And he's pointing, he's like, well, this beetle here, that came from Brazil. And when I visited Brazil a couple of years ago, I got this bug and that beetle and this beetle and that fly and this fly. And he's pointing, he knows every last detail there is to know about these bugs. Oh my goodness. And she just wants to be about sick. Then he's teaching her all about the spiders. He goes, well, here's a tarantula, and then there's black widow, and there's a brown recluse, and then, oh, look at this, it's a little jumping spider, and there's a house spider, and she just doesn't know what to think. Oh, this guy's all about his bugs. Then he goes over to the next row, and he goes, okay, these are mosquitoes, and there's thousands of different types of mosquitoes. You just wouldn't even believe it. Got the male skeeter and little skeeter, and then you got skeeter hawk, and you got all these skeeters. Oh, let's go to the moths. And he's picking out all the moths. And then he goes, praying mantises. He goes, the praying mantis, they eat the moths, and they eat the butterflies too. And they hang out right near the lights. So when the moths come by, they grab them. And the reason why they're praying is because they got these claws, and the claws are like right there on their hands, about right there, these really nasty claws, and they reach out and they grab them and they just eat them. She doesn't want to hear about all that. It's making her sick. She goes, okay, listen, Adrian, not to be rude or anything, but I've about had it with bugs. She goes, can we do something else? He goes, yeah, sure, no problem. So they go in there and they turn on the television. They're watching a little television, not really watching television, just sitting on the couch. And he's positioned over there on the far couch, and she's on the other side of the couch there. And they're just having a little chat, nothing romantic, nothing like that. They're getting more into their family. They're getting more into their education and their schooling and their life and all that stuff. So it's still not romantic. No kisses are flying, no holding hands, none of that. Because I'll tell you what, Adrian is into his bugs. He's in love with his bugs. He's not in love with her. But at the same time, he's interested in her. He sure is. He sure is. And she's not interested in his bugs at all. No, sir, no, ma'am. She about had it with the bugs. But that's all this dude talks about. So for the most part, she decides she's going to excuse herself from the situation. She's still interested in him, but not so interested now because he's in love with his bugs. So anyway, she goes, listen, Adrian, not to be rude or anything, but I do, I got to go hiking tomorrow, and, I got these things going on, and of course I got to get ready for my next trip, and not to be rude, but thank you very much for inviting me over and showing me all your bugs. And he goes, oh yeah, no problem. And then he walks her to the door and she drives away. So he's thinking to himself, did I do that right? He's questioning himself. Maybe I was a little bit emphasizing too much about the bugs. Maybe I should have spent more time with her or talked more about her instead of the bugs. But he is all about his bugs. That's all he cares about is them damn bugs. Because the bugs, one day, if he does it just right, he's going to be working at a college where he's going to be teaching about bugs, every part about bugs. So a couple of weeks go by and he doesn't really talk to her and she doesn't really talk to him. Maybe a couple of little text messages here and there. Small talk, nothing fancy. So hell, it's creeping into late July, and it's really warm, real warm. All the snow is melting off the mountains there, even up at about 8, 9, 10,000 feet. The snow is pretty much out of there. Okay. So here it comes August 1st. August 1st. And she's going to go on this big old hiking event. And she's going to go to one of these mountains that's like 8,500 feet up. You would think it'd be cold up in there, but it's really not because it's August. It's hot. Man, it's humid a little bit. And you talk about bugs. There's more bugs than you'd shake a stick at. So she has a plan to go with another friend of hers. It's another female. And they're going to go hiking up in the high country. Now, here's the rule for people that would ever come to Colorado. The first thing that you have to have when you go up into the high country, this is a true story. This part of the story is true. You have to have a sidearm. That's a fact. The reason why is because you have wolves, coyotes, and then you have the occasional bear. And if a bear, and plus the cats, the mountain lions. Okay, it's not a joke. If you're accosted by a bear, chances are, depending on the bear, if it's a black bear, you may be eaten. So, you know, you got to have a sidearm to protect yourself from the bears, the cats, coyotes, and the wolves, and of course, humans. So she doesn't have a sidearm. No, she doesn't. And her friend doesn't have a sidearm. So this is a little bit of a dilemma. So she decides to send Adrian a text message. She says, listen, I'm supposed to go up to the high country with my friend, and I don't have a sidearm. What do you suggest that I do? And he sends her a text message and he says, oh, go get some of that bear repellent. It's awesome. It's very expensive, costs you $50, $60, but the bear repellent will eject about 20 to 30 feet. That's plenty distance for you to repel a bear if necessary, or a cat, or whatever, a wolf or a coyote, or whatever it would be. Ram, pick something. She goes, oh, that's a fantastic idea. So she said, thank you very much. She's very polite to him. Of course, you don't stutter when you send a text message. So she goes off to the store and she picks up herself one of these canisters of bear spray. And it does. It ejects the spray 20, 30 feet. She feels pretty good about herself. And then they sold a little bit separate, little holster for it. You put on, clip onto your belt or whatever. So she's all ready to go. Now she's going to be going up there on a Sunday because that's what they're going to do. And they're going to leave early in the morning, about, I don't know, maybe 9 o'clock in the morning. And they're going to make it a whole day trip. And, you know, if it goes into the wee hours, big deal. She's self-employed. So even though she's supposed to be working on Monday, she could take it off. It's not a big deal. So as time goes on, her friend calls her and cancels and states that something else had come up and she's so sorry about it. And she cannot, she can't go. She's real bummed out about it because she's not going to go up there by herself. Now, I bet you can guess what part of the story happens next. She really wants to go. She really wants to go. Hiking is her thing, whereas with Adrian, bugs are his thing, right? So she puts in a very friendly text message to Adrian and says, listen, my girlfriend has canceled, and I really want to go. I mean, I planned for it. I set time away from it. I bought the bear spray. You know, will you go with me? He goes, sure, I'd be happy to go with you. And he goes, you know, there's a lot of bugs up there. She didn't even care. She just wanted to go, but she wouldn't go by herself. He goes, and you know something? I got a sidearm, but you can bring your bear spray. It's not a big deal. I'll bring my sidearm, and I'll probably bring a couple of jars because I want to catch some of the bugs. If I catch some bugs, then I'm going to bring them back. You know, I'm into the bugs. She goes, fine, whatever. Just okay. So you're going to go. You promise? You give me your word? He goes, yes, I give you my word. Matter of fact, if you'd like, I can pick you up, seeing that I got a 4-wheel drive. We can get to the base of the mountain there, and then we can hike up and make it a day. Or if you want, did you want to spend the night? She goes, spending the night sounds nice. And she goes, hold on a second. Hang on just a second. I'll get right back with you. Just one moment. Give me 5 minutes. So he's like, oh, that was weird. He's like, what'd you need 5 minutes for? So anyway, she texts him back and she goes, yes, let's go ahead and make it tonight. I just checked the weather. It's supposed to be absolutely gorgeous. And the temperature is supposed to be like 79 during the day and about 65 at night, or 60 degrees, something like that. Cool but warm, but you know what I mean. He goes, yeah, okay, well, I'll bring a tent. I got everything we need for the tent. I'll bring all of that stuff. I'll bring some pots and pans. I'll cook you breakfast. I know everything there is about cooking. I'll bring a shovel. I'll dig us a little fire pit. I'll put the stones around it. It'll be nice. She's like, great. So pick me up at 9. He's actually going to pick her up. I'm sorry. He's going to pick her up at 8 because they want to be there by 9. So he lays his head down and he's thinking, well, shoot, I can't lay my head down. I better get my butt up and get everything ready. So he gets his tent. He gets the jars. He's going to need these jars. He's have these special jars. They're not just everyday jars. They're glass jars, but they're kind of like one of those, you know how they have the lid and they snap and you have a little lock on it. And it's like air pressure, but he's got holes up in there. So that way the bugs can breathe because they need to be alive. If he's going to catch them alive, it's not like he's going to take them out right there because he wants to study them, right? So he has these 2 glass jars and they got little bitty holes up there. So that way they don't, suffocate. And then he brings his pots and pans and he brings his sidearm. Then he's got a blade for in case, they do a little fishing or something. And then he brings a little shovel with him. Of course, a pocket knife. Got to have a pocket knife. He brings a little dental floss with a hook and the weight. You know how I taught you. And he's ready to go. He's got the tent, the sleeping bags. I mean, he's ready to do his thing. He's got the backpacks, the whole 9 yards. Oh, man, I tell you what, he's got it going on. So he goes to her house. He rolls up about 8:05. She's like, all right, I got my things and I got my bear spray. And then the only thing she had was her hiking boots. She had long jeans on. She had a sweater and a light windbreaker. It was nothing fancy, but because it's supposed to be hot. But she looked damn good, and he noticed too. He's like, damn, Kathy, you looking good. I mean, not the flirt or anything, but my word, woman, holy smokes. Well, she got a little bit nervous and she's like, thank you. He kind of noticed like, was that a stutter? But he didn't want to say anything because, you don't want to go to pick somebody up and then burn your bridge right out the gate, right? So she gets in the car, they turn on the radio and they're just driving down the road and here they go up to the dirt road. So they're going to be west of Fort Collins. They're going up in the high country. Yes, they are. So they get down at the base of this mountain. They don't even know, she doesn't even know the name of this mountain. All she knows is that's where she was going to go. She looked it up on Google Maps and all that, all the routes. And she can't really see the trails so good because, Google Maps is going to restrain you to just the basics. She can see the paths, but they're not profound. So as they get to the base, he's getting all the sleeping bags and he gives her a backpack too because he can't carry it all, not by himself. So he's got a backpack for her. It's got a sleeping bag and the shovel in it, maybe, just this and that for the fishing and carrying on about. And then he's got the tent on, another sleeping bag, and then all the other little particulars. He's got a sidearm on him. And they start going up the hill in that. So they're just hiking up and about and just doing their thing. And right at the base, there's this cave. It's really strange. She's like, wow, I didn't remember hearing about this cave being here. It's kind of strange. So they're probably about a half a mile up the mountain. And off to the right-hand side, there's a little cave. And they figured, well, yeah, let's go ahead and go in this cave. She's like, man, I don't know if that's a good idea. He goes, no, it's going to be fine. Here, I'll show you how to deal with this. So he gets out his little flashlight there, and he's got one of these really bright flashlights in there. and he puts a flashlight in there, and he takes this like one of these horn can deals. He's just sitting there waiting for anything. I'm flying out of there, bear or cat or anything. Nah, nothing does. So they got the flashlights, and they're being careful because you got to be careful in Colorado. Some of these caves are actually old mines. The mines could fall through. It'd be a mess. It wouldn't be funny. So they're just kind of perusing around. They're looking around. It's not really that deep. It just kind of goes in, but there's a little part off to the left-hand side that looks like it really goes far, but they're not going to go in there. They're not going to go in there at all, because the place that is there is a little bit smaller. You'd have to crawl on your hands and knees to get in there. They're not doing that because they're going hiking. So anyway, they start going around, and they come out, and they keep going up the hill. They just thought that was interesting, a little weird. He's looking for bugs, So they're just hiking and hiking and hiking. They get about pooped. They're about halfway up this mountain. And it's hot, and they're sweating. They're having a little bit of treats here and there. And yeah, it's warm. It is warm like you just don't even know. And then they sit down, a little spread there. They have some sandwiches and little snacks with them, and something to drink, some water and whatnot. So after their lunch, they clean everything up, because in Colorado, here we go again. I'm one of those weirdos like this when it comes to this sort of thing. This part of the story is true. I'm the same way. You don't leave garbage anywhere in the high country. It's naughty. It's very, very naughty. So you don't do that. So they clean up all their garbage and that. They put that in a separate bag, and they put that back in the backpack, to make sure everything's nature and all that good stuff. So they continue on with their hike. And before you know it, and they're just about getting worn out, because they're just having to do one of these, because this mountain is steep, and they're crawling up the rocks and hanging on it's just crazy. And she's having a good time because she's used to hiking. But old Bug Man, he's all pooped, man. He's like, wow, this woman's just tearing me up. And they're just having a little small talk in between. So they keep creeping up there, and they get up there to this meadow. They're almost to the very, very top, not quite. They're up about 3/4 of the way to the very top, and they decide that they're going to finish tomorrow, which would have been a Monday. Both of them are going to take the day off because, hell, they're self-employed. They don't have to worry about working for a boss, right? So they get up to this area, and it's very close to the graphic that I made here. And it's like, all the trees and the forest is everywhere, and they go there, and it's a huge meadow. I mean, it's monstrous. So they walk right into this meadow, and it's so vast you can't even imagine. So they're standing in the middle of it, and they're turning around. Every direction is just meadow. It's beautiful. And there's all forest all the way around. And you can barely tell where the trail is, where they even came up at. So he's like, you know what? I think we should camp here. It's nice and smooth and grass. And it's like that in a lot of places in Colorado. You go up in the high country and you come to these meadows. They're gorgeous, right? He goes, well, let's go right in the center of this meadow, and I'll go ahead and dig us a fire, and I'll see if I can't get some rocks, and I'll put it around so that way it's safe. So he's got that shovel, and he's tearing all the grass away so that way, the fire didn't jump out of there and start a fire somewhere else, like a big old forest fire. So he's getting all that, and he digs a hole that's about maybe 2 feet deep, 4 feet wide, all the way around. He goes off, and he gets some big rocks. He sets it around like this. And then she's just trying to figure out how to put that damn tent together. She's having a hard time, because she's more about hiking, not camping. But anyway, so he turns around and gets some firewood, because they're going to need lots of firewood. That's for sure, because he's going to cook her breakfast in the morning too. You imagine that? Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. So he sets these stones up there in such a way, and this fireplace is pretty good size, and he's got it all dug out real nice, and then he sets all the little kindling in there, and you don't start a fire with paper, do you? I don't think you do. Maybe you want to half a match, right? That's what I do. So anyway, he's got this fire set up. It's almost like a bonfire. He lights that up with a lighter. He cheated. So he lighted up with a lighter, and it gets to flaring up. And boy, I tell you what, this fire is going pretty good. He's getting out of all his little pots and pans, and he starts cooking up some stuff here and there. And she's kind of amazed. This guy really knows everything there is to know about camping too. Not only does he know about the bugs, he knows about camping. So she's like, Adrian, I'm having a really hard time with the tent. So I tell you what, that stutter's coming out now because she's getting frustrated. She's, you know what I mean? So she's like, yeah. He noticed it this time, right? He's like, oh, this is an accident. She's got a stuttering problem, maybe. I don't know. But he didn't say anything. He's going to be polite and, just help her out. He goes, okay, here, let me show you how you do it. So he sets up this tent, and he's knocking it in right. He put in one of the stakes, and he put in the other stake, and he's got it up like this, and he's got the zipper in there, and he knows everything there is to know about that damn camping, including the bugs. She's like, oh, it seems like it seems like it's pretty easy. Oh boy, he's really noticing now. He's thinking, well, maybe it's a good thing I didn't have a shine on her. She's really pretty and all, but I don't know. I got my thing with bugs, but she's got her thing with words. Huh. So he didn't condescend on her or nothing like that because, one, that's not polite. And then two, he's just not that kind of man. So anyway, they set up the tent. They get that all going on. And then they go off to a little stream there. They get some water, even though they have the bottled water with them. But still, it's nice to have a little stream by. And he starts looking around for these little crawdads and such. He didn't find any crawdads, you believe it? He knows everything there is to know about bugs, but he ain't very good with the crawdads. So he comes back to the camp, and they have a little bit something more to eat, and it's starting to get a little bit dark now. So it's about, I don't know, maybe 7:30, and he starts seeing these damn fireflies. You believe it? He goes, hey, do you remember seeing the fireflies up in here? She goes, oh, yeah, I remember. I see them all the time. He goes, when I was really young, I used to take them and rub them on my face or on my hands and be glowing in that because of the phosphorus. He goes, yeah. She goes, I used to do that too. And he goes, yeah, it's really mean. It's really naughty. You shouldn't do that. She goes, no, I wouldn't do it now. He goes, yeah, neither would I, because that's really mean. He goes, but can you help me catch him? And she goes, yeah, I'll help you. So he takes one of those jars and he gives it to her, and then he has a jar and he's going by and he's catching them, boy. He's catching. They're lighting up. They're in the jar, buddy. That's something else. And she goes to catch him. She ain't catching one. She knows everything is to know about hiking, but she doesn't know diddly nothing about bugs or putting up a tent. She can't seem to catch him. But he's catching. He's got the skill about it, boy. He sneak up on them, and whoop, they'll be sitting there, and they're boom, 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 right? A little heartbeat, you'll get him. So before you knew it, he had about 9 of these fireflies inside this jar, and she didn't have one, not one. He just didn't think anything of it. He's like, that's okay. It's all right. It's your first time. Don't worry about it. It's okay. I mean, I got 9 of them. Look at them. And then he capped it up right so they couldn't escape. It's got little holes up there so everybody can breathe. And they're just sitting there, and the fire is going just a little bit, and the fire is starting to go out just a tiny bit there. They got the sleeping bags in the tent and such. And these little fireflies, they're going off, and he's explaining every last detail about these fireflies. He goes, the fireflies, you can only find them in Colorado around Fort Collins. Did you know it? She goes, what? He goes, yeah, it's not very common. You see them around Denver or Colorado Springs or Grand Junction or Steamboat or any of that. It's usually up in Fort Collins only. She goes, no way. He goes, yeah, look it up. I want you to. He goes, it's so extraordinarily rare. But Fort Collins, they got them everywhere. He goes, and I like studying them, and I know everything about them. She goes, really? Well, why do they light up like that? And who's lighting up? Is it the male? Is it the female? He knows every last detail about them bugs, right? He goes, let me tell you something, Kathy. This is a true story. In other words, it's Adrian telling Kathy. So let me tell you something. These damn fireflies, they're magical. She's like, magical? How how could they be magical? He goes, well, they're magical. He goes, think about it. Here you got these little flies and they're flying around and they're glowing. Imagine how much energy it would take for their little bodies to glow. Half of their body is glowing. Try to imagine how much energy that would take of their mass. She goes, yeah, that is interesting, but that doesn't prove that they're magic. He goes, oh, they're magic. Oh, they're magic. Fireflies are magical. If you can catch a firefly, it's not only good luck, but if you can keep them alive, oh, it's even better luck. She goes, well, aren't you gonna take them home and you're gonna put a pin through them, right? He goes, yes, but for now, I'm not going to. I mean, I want to study him a little bit more. I want to videotape him. I want She goes, well, if they're magical, you'd let them go. He goes, listen, I can't really explain it to you. All I can tell you is fireflies are magical. If you can catch one, you got 1 point of good luck. You got 1 point of good luck. If you get here, look, there's 9 of them in here, and look, and they're all blinking all differently. She didn't understand. She didn't want to understand it. It's so bizarre to her, or whatever. She goes, you know what? Let's just go into the tent, and I'm feeling exhausted. I know you probably are too, because you're not a hiker so much. I'm a hiker, but you're really not.
Sorry, folks. Wow, they just cut that out there at that part. Isn't that amazing? That's the whole point of the purpose of the story. Power of the energy of these fireflies. How much they manifest. Here we go.
Very much for staying with me, because I know what good luck you really are, and I appreciate you more than you know. And if you didn't mind fireflies, I'd like to study you a little bit. I'm sure you're not going to mind. And before you know it, he's asleep. But those fireflies are sitting right there. They sure are. That darndest thing. I'll tell you what happens next. You just ain't going to believe it. Well, you see, in Colorado, we have this problem here. In Colorado, it is the strangest place on the planet because you can be literally 81 degrees one day and a blizzard the next day. And that is a fact. And it's happened so many times, you just wouldn't even believe it. And it just happened this past September, to be quite honest. Mid-September, one day it's like 89, and the next day, we got 18 inches of snow. It's a true story. That's the darndest thing. So here we are, ladies and gentlemen. It's about 2 o'clock in the morning. Oh, it's starting to get cold. And it's getting colder and colder. But you know what? Adrian, he doesn't know anything about it because he's rustled up in a sleeping bag. And old Kathy, she doesn't know about it. She doesn't know anything either because she's just sound asleep. But I tell you who does know it, those fireflies, they know it because it's getting cold. It is getting really cold. This is bad news because those fireflies, they ain't going to make it. The colder it gets, the worse it's going to get. They're going to go into essentially hibernation stage because they'll start to freeze. This is not good. The fire is just smoldering out there. It sure is. Still got a nice red coal. If you kick it, there would be a nice red coal. For the most part, that fire is out. And guess what? It's starting to snow profusely. The winds is a howling, boy. You just don't even know how cold it is now. But again, they don't even know it because they're just, up in their sleeping bags and they don't know. So then what happens next? Oh boy. Here it is about 4 o'clock in the morning. Hell, it's going to be light in about an hour, maybe 2. And it is snowing and snowing and snowing and snowing, buddy. There's probably about at least 8 inches of snow, maybe a foot. Uh-oh. And who wakes up at about 4 o'clock in the morning? Adrian does. But why does he wake up? Well, because the weight of the snow has collapsed the tent. Uh-oh. Not good. He wakes up abruptly and he looks, first thing he does is look at the fireflies, and the fireflies are like, boom, boom. And they're just boom, 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 boom. Oh, he's in panic. He takes those fireflies and he puts them up under his shirt and he's trying to warm up these fireflies. He's looking at them. Oh man, he's really shook up because, man, these are magical fireflies. Yes, they are. They're magic. And he knows they're magic. But guess what? It's kind of like Ultraman. He's losing. You ever see Ultraman? That Japanese little character where it has that little thing where it pulses and he starts losing his energy. It starts dying down. That's how it is. He's looking at the damn fireflies. He's like, come on, fireflies. He's using his body heat to kind of warm them up a little bit, warm up the jar. Hopefully it'll warm up the fireflies. And he knows they're getting a little stronger because they're getting a little warmer. He's like, oh man, what do I do? What do I do? Oh, the tent's collapsed. I got to wake her up. She's going to be free. He zips that up. He's like, oh my goodness. There is so much snow on the ground, at least a foot. He's in a world of trouble. Why? Well, I'll tell you why. Because she came up there with blue jeans, a blouse, and a little light coat. He came up there also, hiking boots and shorts, right? And a little light coat. They're not prepared for this, and they're in deep trouble. Oh, yeah. He comes flying out of that. He didn't even wake her up. He gets out of there, and he's looking around in every direction. Well, of course, it's snow, but it doesn't look the same. Well, why not? Because everything has snow on it. You have no sense of direction now. It's as if you're lost in the middle of nowhere. Oh, boy, this is bad. He goes over there, and it's starting to slow down a little bit. It's not snowing as hard. It's not blowing. The wind is not blowing as hard. He still has all of the sticks and all of everything that he collected for the firewood for the morning. It's still there, but he has snow on it, and he's shaking it off of there. And it's not a wet snow. It's like a powdery, like a really cold snow, which doesn't make sense anyway, because it was warm the day before. It should be a heavy snow, but it's not. So he's shaking it off of there. And he gets his foot down there in the fireplace, and he's gently getting the snow out of the little fire pit there. Then he kicks it. There's a little bit of coal, just enough. He starts putting the little fire, the sticks in there and the firewood in there. He's blowing on it. He's trying to stoke his fire. It starts smoking and smoldering. By that time, Kathy wakes up and goes, "What is going on? Oh, what is going on?" He goes, we're in a world of trouble. Here, we got about a foot of snow, and I don't know which way we came in. She goes, "Well, what do you mean you don't know which way we came in?" He goes, "Well, do you remember which way we came in for sure? Was it that way? Where's the trail?" Like, I don't know. He goes, do you remember the elevation that we were at? They try to, bring up their phones. You ain't gonna have no phone service up there. Sorry. No, you're not. You're in a world of trouble, buddy. Oh, he's like, "Listen, I got to get this fire going." It starts crackling up a little bit, and that damn fire starts catching on a little bit. It's just a little bitty flame, man. He's trying to get that fire going, boy. Oh man, they're in a world of trouble, buddy. So that fire starts kicking off again. He's looking at his fireflies, and they're just a little bit. He takes that thing as that fire starts getting going. He takes that jar and he sets it right over. He's huddling up around like this, and he's got his hands around it. And as the fire starts getting really, really hot, oh, look, fireflies, man, they're going strong now, because it's still dark out. Now they're full energy, boom, 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 right? And he's getting so worried about his damn fireflies, but he doesn't want to overheat them, because if he overheats them, they'll burn up. So he's got to have a happy medium. So he's turning the jar around a little bit, turning it around like that as the fire is going. And she's looking at him like, "Oh my God, dude, what are you doing? You're worried about bugs, and we have got an emergency." He goes, "Kathy, I know that we have an emergency. I'm very well aware of this. But we also have another emergency. You see these fireflies? These fireflies are magical. I keep telling you that, and you're not listening to me. We have 9 points of light of good luck right in this jar. We can't let them go. And they have to survive in order for us to survive." And she's looking at him. She done lost it now. She's like, first of all, she's thinking in her head. She's not saying that out loud. She's thinking in her head, first thing, the first date we have, or the third date, you bring me over to your house and tell me everything there is to know about bugs instead of giving me the attention, and then about the spiders and bugs, everything, you know what I mean? She's done lost it. She's like, "We have an emergency and you're worried about bugs. What about me?" He goes, listen, just, if you could, just go back in your tent. Here, he's shaking all the snow off the damn tent. Now he's getting all fluffy and get it back. And it's starting to snow just a little bit less. It's not as heavy, but they're still in a world. They're in a world of trouble, buddy, because they don't know what direction they came in at. But they don't. She goes, "Fine." She goes in there, she huddles up in there, and she's in the tent. She zoom, closes it. Here he is with his fireflies. These poor fireflies, they were ice cold fireflies. Hardly had any little energy in them. And he warmed them up, and then he warmed them up at the fire. And now they're getting strong, baby. They're like, vroom, 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 vroom. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm. And he just keeps turning that jar a little bit more, so that way they don't get too hot. Right. And then he sets them off. He sets them off to the side there. And then he's trying to figure out what to do. And then he's, getting the damn snow off their backpacks, because it was just off the side of the fireplace. Right. He knows they got to figure out how to get back home. They're not going to go up in advance and then get back down the hill, or they're going to freeze to death. He's thinking, man, what to do? So he's trying to warm up his legs, man. He's at that fire. It's cold. So then he's figuring, okay, now what to do here? He takes this toboggan that he has for his head, because up there sometimes gets a little chill at night. You just put that little toboggan over it. He takes that toboggan and he puts it over the jar itself, so that way the cloth of the toboggan will keep the jar warm, but he will know if it's too warm because it'd catch on fire, right? So he's turning around and then he's trying to get Kathy back up. He says, listen, we have got to get going. We've got to figure out a way out of here. If they're in a meadow, buddy, sense of direction is gone. You know that if you keep going up, seeing that you're almost to the very top, that's going to tell you what direction not to go. But the problem is you have 3/4 of a circle of what direction to go. There is no sense of direction. Whew, they're in a world of trouble. So he takes this toboggan, he puts it over the jar, like I said. He says, like, you have got to get up. And she goes, fine, but I'm not getting out of my sleeping bag. So she's a little, angry. She's a little pissed off about things. And she starts scooting away the snow, and she's curled up in her sleeping bag, and he's trying to dismantle the tent and get the tent down and such. He goes, you got to get out of that sleeping bag. We got to get ready to get out of here. She goes, okay, fine. So she gets that, and she's just doing the best she can do. She's rolling up the sleeping bag, and then she takes a little, almost like a shoestring, which you tie up a sleeping bag with, and she ties it all up as tight as she can get it. Then she starts putting it, on to the backpacks, and then hike on out of there somehow. And then he takes that toboggan and he pulls it off to check the little fireflies, and he pulls it off. Ladies and gentlemen, there's no longer 9 fireflies in the jar. No, there's 18. He's like, what? What is going on? And he looks in there, boy, and they're he's like, what the? Oh man, 1, 2, 3. There was 9. He goes, Kathy, there's 18. She goes, enough with your bugs. Enough. He goes, man, there was 9. There was only 9, and now there's. She says, I've had it with your bugs. He goes, just settle down, okay? Just settle down. Let me warm up my legs. He puts that toboggan back over the jar, and he starts twisting it around, make sure they're hot. And he starts putting more little, logs on there and such. And he's trying to warm up his legs. He goes, we got to figure something out. We got to figure something out. So then she said, fine. Well, which way do we go? He goes, I don't know. I have not a clue. Okay, just give me a minute. Let me get my legs warm. He goes, you got pants, I got shorts. What do you expect? I need to get warm here. Otherwise, we're going to be in worse trouble. You can't just stay here. Do you know how long it's going to take for this snow to melt? It'll probably take days. We'll either be eaten by the wolves or the bears, or we could freeze to death. We got to figure something else out. So he's moving that damn thing. He goes and he lifts up that toboggan up off that jar, boy. There's no longer 18. There's 50. It's like a big old glow. He goes, Kathy, you believe this? Look, there's like 50 of these in here. You see that? And she goes stomping over there, boy. And she goes, what? And she went to grab his arm, and she slips. And he's got this damn jar in his hand. And this jar turns like this and smashes on the rocks that he put around the fireplace. And guess what happens next? All the fireflies go up, almost turn into almost like a heart. It's the weirdest looking thing. They go up like this out of that jar. They come around like that. And then just boop, 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 boop. And they start heading down the path that they came from. They got a little line. He's like, come on, let's go, let's go. And she done sprained her ankle. She can't go anywhere. But these damn fireflies, they seem to know where they're going, and it's not up at top. They're going back down. But they're going back down in a hurried kind of way. She goes, I can't move my damn ankle. There's something about it. He goes, oh, he goes, okay, look. He's thinking what to do. He goes, listen, the fireflies know how to get back. See them? Do you see them there? They know how to get back because they got to get warm too. We got to follow them. Just like, oh, then follow them. Fine. So what's he do? He's got to think quick. What is he going to do? Okay, what he does, he takes Kathy. He tells her to lay down on the tent. He undoes the stakes out of the tent right there. He lays her down the tent. He puts both of the backpacks on the tent on top of her, and he starts dragging the tent in the snow to follow all the fireflies. Right? And he's going as fast as he can go because the fireflies know how to get to the lower elevation so they too can survive. How in the hell did they multiply? Ooh, I don't know. Something strange going on. So he's got that tent. He's dragging her. He's dragging her. He's dragging her. And as they get lower and lower, these fireflies, man, they done saved their lives. Sure did. Because as they get lower and lower, guess what? The snow is getting thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner. And before you know it, there is no more snow. It's chilly. It's cold. Don't get me wrong. She still can't walk. She's in a bad kind of way. So he keeps going down. He's still dragging that tent down the trail. You can see the trail. Now it's all timber. There's no more snow. Now it's rain because of the elevation. So he's dragging her down. He's thinking, oh, he's looking down just a little bit. He can see just a little bit of the little bitty town that they parked the vehicle in. He can see lights down in there. Sun's starting to come up. It still doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Because you don't have self-service. Can't call anybody. He's got to drag her down there. He's cold as hell, like you can't even imagine. But where are the fireflies? Oh, man. These fireflies, for some weird reason, all 50 of those fireflies, they're hovering around this damn, looks like a log off to the left-hand side of the trail. Yeah, there's this, it looks like a tree that had been rotted out, but a big old tree, huge tree. But the strange thing about that is when you have a dead tree, an old tree, and all you folks in Atlanta, Georgia, you're going to know about this too. Down in Florida, down in Tennessee, you'll know what I mean about this. You see on those dead trees, what do they have on them sometimes? Phosphorus. Hey, wait a minute. That's the same sort of stuff they got in them fireflies too, isn't it? It's the strangest thing. No, say it isn't so. They're all hovering around this tree that is all, rotted out and such, and it's got a little glow about it. All these fireflies are just flying around there. They're at an elevation now where it's a little chilly, but it's not ice cold. They can survive. They got a little about them. And they're all like swirling around this area here. It's like he doesn't get it. So maybe they're trying to tell him something. After all, he's got to hand it to him. They did kind of save his life, and they saved Kathy's life too, and she didn't really appreciate him. But if it wasn't for Kathy slipping and grabbing his arm and him dropping the glass, he would have never known to do that in the first place. Or maybe he would. So anyway, he gets to thinking. He's trying to figure out, and he's cold, boy. He is so cold. His hands are cold. His legs are cold. All these fireflies, they're magical. He knows they're magical. He gets to thinking, what's in there? He grabs a stick and he starts poking around in there where that dead tree is. A big old tree, huge. And he goes to poking that stick in there, and he couldn't figure out why they're all converging around there. And as he did that, it went, he's like, what? And he started tapping a little bit more around, and it started giving way. He's like, what the heck is that? He couldn't figure it out. So as he's tapping a little bit more, it starts breaking away and more and more and more, to the point where he climbed down up in there if he wanted to. He sure could. But he's nervous. He didn't want to do that. Hell, what if that tree fell on one of those holes of where the mines was? Hell, he could fall 35, 45, 80 feet down, and he'd never get out of that, like an old well or something. This side of the mountain. He's a little bit apprehensive. He says, listen, Kathy, I know you're going to stay here because you can't walk. So I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to jump down in this hole and I'm going to take a look at what's going on, because these fireflies are converging and they're not going to steer us wrong. She goes, are you crazy? Don't do that. There could be one of those mine shafts. She goes, listen. He goes, listen, Kathy, you just settle down. All of these fireflies, they would not steer us in the right direction. There's no way. So by the time he says that, he looks over and all the fireflies went zoop right in that hole. He goes, what? So he's thinking, if all the fireflies went down in that hole, then it can't be bad, could it? Nah, couldn't be bad. So he gets over there and he kind of crawls up down in there. He's looking, and you have to crawl around on your hands and knees pretty much. He's looking and he can see. No, I know not to be cliche or anything like that, but he can see the light at the end of the tunnel for real, but it's a long way away. It sure is. He's thinking, man, he's thinking, wow, that's got to be 3/4 mile, maybe a mile, maybe, I don't know how long. That's a long way. And he can see these little fireflies in there. And he's looking, they're just kind of disappearing because they're little bitty things, right? He's thinking, okay, let me see. He takes a rock, picks up a rock, and he throws it down there, and you can hear it click, 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 click. He's thinking, man, I don't know. This is a little strange. He's listening for it. It's rolling down, keeps rolling down. It's like a smooth roll. Maybe a slide. Who knows? And he gets the thing. He says, listen, I tell you what I'm going to do. Seeing that you're in the sleeping bag, I'm going to get in this hole and I'm going to see where the light at the end of the tunnel is. And chances are it's going to be down the hill. And I'm going to get help and I'm going to come back and get you. She's like, no, don't do that. Don't leave me here. He goes, listen, I tell you, okay, look, I tell you what. Takes his damn belt off and he gives her the sidearm and he's got it set up. He goes, look, all you got to do, have you ever used one of these before? She goes, no. He goes, it's already set up. And don't point that at me. Okay. All you got to do is put your finger in there and pull the trigger. It's already set up for you. Everything's set up. If something comes to you, you got 15 tries to do what you got to do. Okay. She's like, okay. He goes, I'm going to go get help and you can't walk and I'll be back. And I promise you I'll be back. I promise. She's like, okay. And she's sobbing a little bit, right? And carrying on. That's what he does. He jumps in that hole, boy, and off he goes. And guess where he shows up out of? Well, you know that little cave that they walked up on? That's where he showed up at. He sure did. He come shooting out of that little area where that cave was, that little cave area that you had to crawl up in there. Yeah, he come out of there. He come flying out of there. It was a pretty smooth ride going down. Right? It took him a while to get back down to that little town, but hey, it was nothing. Then he goes down there to the little town. He says, listen, we had an accident. You know, they got snow up there. He didn't tell them about the fireflies. No, that's a secret because those were ice cold fireflies. They done saved him because those fireflies were magical. Still can't figure out how they multiplied though. Couldn't figure it out because they're magical. It's a secret. Nobody can tell you. Right? So he goes down there and they get a a posse together or whatever they do. Bunch of people, they go back hiking up, and then they get actually some four-wheelers up there. And they get to the area where they can't hike anymore. And then they just walk up there, and there's Kathy. She's got the sidearm there. She's okay. She hadn't been eaten by nothing. As soon as he sees her, he's like, you made it. I made it. Everything's good. They bring her on back down. Right? Off she goes. She's going off to the hospital, wherever she's doing. He's still really cold. He can't go with her. You're not allowed to drive the ambulance. You know what I mean? He gets in his vehicle and he just drives home. Got his tent's all ruined, and that's got holes in that, dragging her around. Yep. So he calls her up, or he tries to put a call into her, because she's, you know, at the hospital, whatever, getting all bandaged. Maybe she broke something, who knows what. And she doesn't answer. She's thinking, well, he knows it's not life threatening. I mean, he just sprained an ankle, maybe broke it or something, who knows what. And so he just figures, okay, well, whatever. She'll call me when she wants, whatever. And he goes about his business, and he's taking all his camping gear and all his everything, and he's got to send his sleeping bag off to the cleaners or whatever, and the other one, so that way they get mildewed. He's taking all his pots and pans and all his little stuff that he had with him, and he goes to sleep. Well, he wakes up in the morning there, and on a Tuesday it would have been now. He wakes up Tuesday morning, and he gets a call from her about 9 o'clock. And she goes, I just want to let you know, Adrian, your bugs saved us. You know that they did, and I know that they did. But I just wanted to thank you very much. And I wanted to thank your bugs for saving us. And she goes, I really mean that. And she didn't even stutter either. It's pretty amazing. He goes, well, yeah, you just never know. It's the little things in life that matter. That's in my story. How'd you like it? We're done. There we go. It's the little things in life that matter. Imagine that. Did you like that? See how that works? So you probably be wondering, well, how did they multiply? It's a secret, can't tell you. That didn't take long. That took, looks like that took a minute. No, that took, I'm sorry. That took an hour and, let's see, an hour and 10 minutes to tell. It wasn't too bad. It was magic. That's it. So to figure out that story, actually, I got the idea for that story being up in Fort Collins one time and seeing fireflies. I was like, I'm going to write me a story about them. Not write it, but, you know, remember it rather. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that is the big ball of wax. So let me go ahead and excuse myself away from this situation.
And that was Monograph. I've dropped his link in the description below this video. And that's magic, folks. I hope you took much from those two stories. Much love.